Have you ever witnessed a man walk out of someone's life with unwavering resolve, never glancing back, leaving behind a silence that speaks louder than words? It's not a moment of impulse or temporary frustration, it's a calculated decision, a choice rooted in deep contemplation. The air feels heavier, the absence more profound, as if a presence that once filled the space has been permanently erased. This is the essence of the Sigma male, a man who does not engage in unnecessary drama, plead for explanations, or seek validation for his departure. Unlike others who might leave a door slightly ajar for reconciliation, the Sigma male operates differently. He won't create a spectacle, hurl accusations, or demand closure. He simply walks away quietly, definitively, and without hesitation. It's not out of cruelty or arrogance, but rather a commitment to self-respect and an uncheckable adherence to his personal boundaries. When a Sigma male decides that a relationship, be it romantic, platonic, or professional, has crossed the threshold of irreversibility, he doesn't engage in back and forths, endless second chances, or emotional negotiations. Instead, he seals the door behind him forever, ensuring that no one can drag him back into a cycle of disappointment, betrayal, or emotional exhaustion. This approach can be unsettling to those who don't understand it. To outsiders, it may seem cold, detached, or even ruthless. But to a Sigma male, it's not about malice, it's about maintaining his dignity and protecting his peace. He knows that lingering in toxic environments or relationships that no longer serve him is a form of self-betrayal. And that's a line he refuses to cross. Today, we're diving deep into the psychology behind this mindset, exploring the 10 core reasons why Sigma males never return once they decide to leave. Their departures are not made lightly, nor are they rooted in petty emotions. Instead, they are acts of finality, driven by a fundamental belief in self-worth and unyielding boundaries that they refuse to compromise no matter the circumstance. By the end of this, you'll understand why when a Sigma male leaves, he's gone for good. Number 1. He accepts the pain of walking away to prevent deeper suffering. Cutting ties with someone, whether a close friend, a romantic partner, or even a long-time associate, is never easy, and the Sigma male is fully aware of the emotional weight that comes with it. He understands that leaving will hurt, but staying in a situation that breeds disappointment, distrust, or resentment will hurt even more. For him, the pain of severing a connection is a necessary sacrifice to avoid greater emotional damage in the long run. He refuses to let wounds fester, allowing himself to be strung along in a cycle of false hope and repeated letdowns. Instead, he makes a clean break, a single, decisive action that ensures there's no room for lingering doubts or manipulative tactics that might pull him back in. This may seem harsh to outsiders, but to the Sigma male, it's an act of self-preservation. He believes that short-term pain is a far lesser price to pay than enduring years of emotional erosion. Rather than prolonging the inevitable, he rips off the bandage swiftly and completely, choosing clarity and finality over slow, agonizing heartbreak. Number 2. Loyalty is a one-time currency. Once spent, it's gone forever. For a Sigma male, loyalty is the highest form of currency in relationships, but it's also fragile. It isn't something that can be repeatedly broken and repaired without consequences. The moment someone demonstrates that they are capable of betrayal, deception, or disloyalty, he makes a firm judgment. If they could do it once, they can do it again. It doesn't matter how remorseful they appear or how deep the history between them runs. To the Sigma, trust is not something that can be patched together with apologies or grand gestures. It's either intact or destroyed, all or nothing. Once the foundation of loyalty is compromised, there's no repairing the cracks, no renegotiating the terms. This approach often baffles those who believe in second chances, family obligations, or lifelong friendships that can withstand any storm. But for the Sigma male, this is not about being unforgiving, it's about being realistic. If someone has already proven capable of disloyalty, why risk giving them another opportunity to repeat the same behavior? In his mind, the smartest move is to walk away permanently and never look back. Number 3. He drains every last drop of emotional attachment. When a Sigma male decides to leave, it's not just a physical departure, it's a complete emotional shutdown. He doesn't keep the door open for reconciliation, nor does he allow nostalgia to cloud his judgment. To prevent himself from being dragged back into situations that no longer serve him, he systematically cuts off all emotional ties. This may include blocking communication to eliminate lingering conversations that could reignite old wounds, deleting shared memories like messages, photos, and reminders that might tempt him to reconsider, mentally detaching to ensure he no longer invests energy in thinking about what could have been. This emotional disengagement can be jarring to those who once experienced his warmth, loyalty, and presence. One day, he is deeply invested. The next, it's as if he has erased every trace of connection. But this isn't out of spite, it's a defense mechanism. The Sigma male understands that emotions can be a weakness if left unchecked. If he doesn't take deliberate steps to purge lingering attachments, there's always a risk of being manipulated, guilt-tripped, or drawn back into a toxic cycle. For him, the cleanest and most effective way to move forward is to drain every last drop of emotional investment, leaving no room for regrets, second thoughts, or unfinished business. Number 4. He reaches a mental point of no return. When a Sigma male decides that a relationship, whether personal, professional, or social, is beyond repair, it's not a gradual realization filled with emotional turmoil. Instead, it's like flipping a switch. One moment, he may still participate in conversations, maintain eye contact, or respond politely, but underneath that composed exterior, he's meticulously evaluating every interaction. He's not dramatic about it. There are no visible signs of growing frustration or emotional breakdowns. The process is entirely internal. What's fascinating and often unsettling for others is how small the final trigger can be. It might not be a grand betrayal or explosive argument. It could be a dismissive comment, a repeated boundary violation, or even a subtle act of disrespect that goes unnoticed by most. But for the Sigma male, it's the accumulation of unresolved issues that lead to this mental breaking point. That small trigger is just the final crack in an already fractured foundation. Once he reaches this conclusion, there's no emotional tug-of-war. He doesn't dwell on what could have been or waste energy hoping for change. To him, emotional detachment isn't a struggle. It's a natural response to recognizing when something no longer serves his growth or peace of mind. This mental point of no return is absolute. The door isn't just closed, it's sealed, and the key is discarded. No amount of pleading, apologizing, or reminiscing can reopen it. What makes this so intimidating to others is the finality of his decision. People are used to negotiating, convincing, or even manipulating others into staying. But with the Sigma male, those tactics fall flat. He doesn't entertain them because, by the time you realize he's checked out, he's already gone mentally, emotionally, and soon after, physically done. Number 5. He views second chances as wasted energy. In a society that often romanticizes redemption arcs and second chances, the Sigma male operates with a different code. He views second chances as unnecessary risks that drain his emotional resources. While many people believe in giving others the benefit of the doubt, he sees it through a pragmatic lens. Why invest energy into someone who's already shown they're capable of breaking your trust? To him, trust isn't fragile, but it's not endlessly renewable either. It's like glass, strong enough to withstand pressure but not designed to be shattered and glued back together repeatedly. Once it's broken, the cracks remain, no matter how well you tried to fix them. He doesn't hate the person who wronged him, nor does he hold grudges. It's simpler than that. He just sees no logical reason to re-enter a dynamic where the potential for disappointment is statistically higher. This mindset isn't rooted in bitterness. It's rooted in efficiency. The Sigma male values his time, energy, and peace of mind more than the emotional roller coaster that often comes with giving second chances. Instead of revisiting old chapters, he'd rather write new ones, either with people who align with his values or in solitude, which he often finds more fulfilling than maintaining superficial connections. His refusal to offer second chances can be jarring to those who expect forgiveness as part of the social contract. But for him, it's not about being unforgiving, it's about not wasting energy on situations that have already proven themselves unworthy of it. Number 6. He doesn't seek closure from others. Most people crave closure after a relationship ends, whether it's a breakup, a falling out, or even the loss of a friendship. They want that final conversation, that heartfelt apology, or some form of emotional reconciliation to make sense of the pain. But for a Sigma male, closure is an entirely internal process. He doesn't look for it in others because he doesn't believe anyone else holds the key to his peace of mind. When a relationship ends, he doesn't send long texts seeking explanations. He doesn't rehash arguments or dwell on what-ifs. Instead, he turns inward, processing his emotions privately, dissecting the situation logically, and ultimately finding his own resolution. He treats emotional wounds the same way he handles physical ones: acknowledge the pain, understand its source, and let time do its work without unnecessary interference. This self-reliant approach often leaves others feeling unsettled, especially those who expect a dramatic confrontation or emotional closure ritual. They're left with unanswered questions, wondering if he ever cared, because he walks away without leaving emotional breadcrumbs behind. But that's not because he's cold or indifferent, it's because he understands that real closure doesn't come from external validation. It comes from accepting what happened, learning from it, and moving forward. In many cases, his lack of need for closure is the very thing that haunts those he leaves behind. While they're stuck replaying old conversations and obsessing over what went wrong, he's already made peace with it, and that emotional distance often feels more painful than any harsh words or dramatic goodbye. Number 7. He believes true resolve requires harsh decisions. In a world that often values compromise, second chances, and emotional diplomacy, the Sigma male operates by a different code. True resolve requires making harsh, unwavering decisions. To him, setting firm boundaries and sticking to them isn't an overreaction, it's the ultimate act of self-respect. He doesn't believe in half measures or emotional loopholes. If someone violates his trust or disrespects his values, allowing them back in would undermine the very principles he lives by. It's not about holding grudges, it's about maintaining the integrity of his own character. A second chance isn't a gesture of kindness in his eyes, it's an unnecessary risk that compromises his emotional stability. While others may fear being seen as cold, heartless, or unforgiving, the Sigma male accepts that criticism without flinching. He'd rather be judged for being emotionally distant than live with the regret of letting someone hurt him twice. His emotional boundaries are like steel walls built to withstand pressure without bending. What most people don't understand is that this harshness isn't fueled by ego or pride. It's rooted in a deep understanding of human behavior and the recognition that not everyone deserves a place in your life after they've shown they don't respect it. For the Sigma male, true resolve isn't about winning emotional battles, it's about never engaging in them once the decision is made. Number 8. He believes explaining himself is a waste of time. When a Sigma male decides to walk away from a relationship, friendship, or situation, he rarely feels the need to provide a long-winded explanation. For him, the decision to leave is not up for discussion, it is final, absolute, and non-negotiable. He understands that those who truly respected him, valued his presence, or paid attention to his boundaries would already know why he left. If they need an explanation, it only confirms what he suspected all along: they never really understood him in the first place. Sigma males see little value in explaining themselves because they recognize that doing so often leads to pointless debates, guilt-tripping, or attempts at manipulation. The more he talks, the more opportunities he gives others to twist his words, argue against his perspective, or try to reel him back in. Instead of wasting his breath trying to justify his decision, he chooses the most powerful response: silence. This quiet departure often leaves people shocked, confused, or scrambling for answers. They may wonder what went wrong, replay past interactions, or desperately seek closure. But to the Sigma male, their confusion is not his burden to carry. He refuses to engage in dramatic goodbyes, emotional confrontations, or drawn-out conversations filled with justifications. Once he decides to walk away, he simply vanishes, no warnings, no explanations, no second chances. And in doing so, he ensures that his boundaries remain intact and his time is never wasted on those who failed to appreciate him while he was there. Number 9. He mentally reclassifies people as non-entities. For the Sigma male, emotional detachment is a skill honed through life experience. When trust is broken, he doesn't engage in drawn-out conflicts, dramatic confrontations, or emotional outbursts. Instead, he performs a quiet mental shift. The person who once mattered is now reclassified as irrelevant, a non-entity in his world. This mental reclassification isn't driven by anger or revenge. It's more clinical, almost like reorganizing files on a computer. Once someone crosses a line, their file is deleted, not moved to a recycle bin for future retrieval, but permanently wiped from his emotional hard drive. They no longer occupy space in his thoughts, influence his decisions, or factor into his plans. It's not about punishing them, it's about preserving his own mental clarity. To outsiders, this level of detachment might seem cold, even ruthless. But for the Sigma male, it's necessary. Emotional attachments can become liabilities when they tie you to people who no longer align with your values. By mentally erasing those individuals, he frees himself from the weight of unresolved feelings, lingering resentment, or what-if scenarios. It's not that he forgets these people existed. It's that he chooses to live as if they no longer do. Out of sight, out of mind isn't just a phrase, it's a strategy. Number 10. He intentionally burns bridges. While most people prefer to part ways with a level of diplomacy keeping connections lukewarm in case they're needed later, the Sigma male does the exact opposite. For him, ending a relationship isn't about leaving the door slightly ajar for future reconciliation. It's about sealing it shut, locking it, and setting the bridge ablaze without a hint of regret. This isn't done out of bitterness or spite. In fact, it's the opposite. It's an act of clarity and self-preservation. Sigma males understand that unresolved connections often leave emotional loopholes, openings that manipulative people can exploit when they sense weakness or vulnerability. By severing all ties and friending, blocking, cutting off mutual contacts, he eliminates any possibility of guilt trips, passive-aggressive check-ins, or attempts to rekindle what's already dead. What might seem harsh to others is, in his mind, an act of emotional hygiene. Just like clearing out clutter to create space, burning bridges ensures that toxic or draining influences have no way to creep back into his life. He's not interested in nostalgia, empty apologies, or rehashing the past. His rule is simple and absolute: once you're out for good. This scorched earth approach often leaves people stunned because they expect at least a sliver of lingering connection. But that's the Sigma male's quiet power. He doesn't just leave. He erases the path back entirely, ensuring he's never tempted to return to what once held him back. If you found this video insightful or relatable, why not join our growing community? Subscribe to the channel for more content exploring the mindsets, traits, and behaviors of Sigma males. Your engagement helps us dive deeper into these unique perspectives. Be sure to like this video if it resonated with you, share it with someone who might appreciate it, and leave your thoughts in the comments below. We'd love to hear your perspective. Thank you for taking the time to watch. Remember, as a Sigma male or someone inspired by their path, staying true to yourself is the ultimate strength. Keep evolving, stay strong, and we'll see you in the next video.